Good morning. Between the Slicks is live, and it is in the AM. These morning shows work out pretty good. We've got to keep adding them to the program and add a few more between the Slicks during the week when we have opportunity to do so. Again, it's morning. I'm so used to saying tonight. I had a show last night. I had a show the night before. This morning's show is one in which we're going to be chatting with Kenneth Phillips. He is the winner in the A-Gas category of the Southeast Gassers Association season opener there at Brainerd Motorsports Park. So we are waiting for him to pop into the green room. And when he does, we'll take the time to transition and get him on the show when we are able to have him on in just a few moments. So with that being said, A-Gas, what a tremendous race that it was. And they had a great season opener there at Brainerd Motorsports Park. By the way, Brainerd Motorsports Park, what a interesting little facility. I didn't know it existed. I'd heard of Ringgold, and I had heard of the drag strip in which they've been there before. Southeast Gassers Association had been so, but I was very surprised where it was. You cannot get any more northern Georgia than where the track is situated. You can walk across the state line, basically, and it's in a neat little area right off of I-75, and you don't even really know there's a drag strip there. They have such great potential at that facility, and though I don't know much of the history of the facility, it does seem that it is in a situation where you are going to have, or you do have, a lot of potential at that track. So to the ownership there, what a great event they had. And you know that it was a good business venture for them with the Southeast Gassers Association coming in. It was a packed house. And, kudos to the track. There had been rain the night before. And with rain, that certainly presented issues. From what I understand, that presented a parking issue that they were not able to use some of the land in which they do have for parking. Well, whatever deal they have with the Cabela's down the road, they are, or wherever they were parking people, they actually had a shuttle bus to put people on this shuttle bus and take them to the drag strip back and forth. So glad to see a small track having a plan B in the works for a situation that the track was in. You got this tremendous crowd going to come in for the Southeast Gassers Association season opener there at Brainerd Motorsports Park in Ringgold, Georgia. And that happened. A tremendous turnout. And you just had rain the night before. Well, you don't want the muck and the mire and the mud and pulling people out with tractors and things like that. So they had another situation worked out. They had another course of action, and that is smart by a track to have that. So the ownership there, I had stopped in a week earlier, and they were out cleaning the track. They were painting the starting line and getting the place to look in tip-top shape. Overall, what a great event from the side of just the facility. A neat little place there. And events like that can certainly help keep a track moving forward. From what I have been able to read in comments on social media, that track has continued to move forward with the ownership that is there. And I hope that continues to be the case and they continue to have great events. What a great area they're in. They're right below Chattanooga, a short drive, honestly, from the Atlanta downtown and metro areas on I-75. That track has got a ton of potential to have a great impact into the world of drag racing and beyond. Also, I was surprised. Woke up that morning and I left from the Tennessee side, exit 1 of Tennessee. There's motels, and you can get a good motel room on exit 1, and you just cut back, not on the interstate, but just 2-lane roads, and you're able to pick up the road to get to Ringgold from the Tennessee side instead of the Georgia side. Well, we hit traffic very early on, and I was shocked. I thought I was already in Southeast Gassers Association traffic, and I was surprised. Though I was like, "Oh, this is good," but come to find out, there's a little dirt track up the road, and they were having like a monster truck event. So there was motorsports abounding last weekend there in northern Georgia, southern Tennessee, for that area right below the city of Chattanooga. And again, what a great facility and what a great area they're in. You've got Chattanooga with all that it offers as this kind of small, big town in the South. They're in the valley and on the river, and you've got Lookout Mountain and Ruby Falls and all the tourist things there. You've got plenty of support for people to come and stay a night or two and then go drag racing at a place like Brainerd Motorsports Park with an exit tucked up right there near the track, right off of I-75. So a spectacular location for them, and no telling what could be in the future for that track. I certainly enjoyed marking another track off the list, and it was certainly good to see another Southeast Gassers Association race. Speaking of the race, if you want to see the action right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform, the YouTube channel, you can see A-Gas eliminations, the entire A-Gas eliminations, including chats with the drivers, such as Leslie Horn, Quayne Stott, Gabriel Burrow, Ben Christopher, and also who we'll be talking to in just a few moments, Kenneth Phillips as well. We show you the action. We give you the storylines of the day right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform. Also, right now, I do know there is some great on-track action on the Hot Rod Hoarder YouTube channel. He does a great job with so many storylines in hot rodding and drag racing, and he was there for Southeast Gassers Association action, taking photos and getting some video, and you can see a lot of great on-track action there as well. I also want to mention Mr. Narks, Drag, Drive, Repeat. He was out there in conjunction with PowerTube TV. Great things going on for him and that partnership. Be sure to follow him at Drag, Drive, Repeat there on YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. It was good to see Michael, and be on the lookout. I'm sure he is going to have a time on his own shows and platforms, if he has not already, and to express his thoughts of the Southeast Gasser Association. He certainly was excited and said, "This is great." And it certainly is great drag racing. If you have not been to a Southeast Gassers Association drag race, you are missing out. You have got to get to a Southeast Gassers Association drag race. By the way, their next one is coming up not too far from now. Will be at Shady Side Dragway in about 2 weeks, if I remember correctly. How can you find the schedule? It's very simple. Go to the SoutheastGassersAssociation.com, or even easier, go to the Southeast Gassers Association Facebook page. You can find a photo, save the photo, put it in your phone, and you can have the schedule with you right there in your pocket. And hey, Southeast Gassers Association with the info April 12th through 13th. And looking on my schedule, might be able to make that one. So, folks, as they are chiming in, thank you for that. Hey, hit the like button, hit the share button as well. And if you're watching on X, chime in. I've been noticing here lately that X had the viewership. They've been pushing lives for whatever reason. So if you're watching on X, chime in. Let me know. We're going to take a break, and right after the break, Kenneth Phillips, we'll chat with him, go round by round, and get his thoughts on the season opener for the Southeast Gassers Association here in 2024. Right after this word from Destroyer 1320. If you need to protect your modern muscle car and also modern truck from Dodge, you need to certainly check out Destroyer 1320 and their theft deterrent systems. If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope. Kenneth Phillips, man, welcome to Between the Slicks. I've been waiting to chat for you. Seems like every time I go, you don't win, and you finally got it done when I show up, and it's on camera now, and I can have you on the show. So good job, man.
Good morning. Yeah, it was good to see you there. Good to be there.
Hey, it was good to be out. What a great season opening event for Southeast Gassers Association. Had you been there in the past? Were you there, several years ago at Ringgold?
I was. Yep, I was there.
What do you notice different, if anything at all, from that time to this time? It seems like everybody in the comment sections, they are remarking that there's improvements at that facility, and it was my first time. So did you notice anything?
Yeah, they had some improvements, and track was good. Everything seemed to be good for me that day.
For sure. They were good for you. Well, look, before we dive into the round by round, I want to learn more about your hot rod. And thank you. Yes, you've got a Chevrolet product, but it is not a Chevy 2, a Nova, or a shoebox. You went with a different route, and you certainly have a beautiful gasser. And what a wonderful platform to see out there on the drag strip. So Silver Streak 2, give me the story of this hot rod, it in a gas, the combination you've got, Kenneth.
I started with a 63 Nova, and it was Silver Streak. And I run it about 2 years. And then Quain ended up with this car. And I decided I had to have it. So I got it and just named it Silver Streak 2. And I run a 385 small block with a G-force transmission.
Well, there you go. And having, look, you can't go any other direction than G-force transmissions. I mean, Roby was out there at the track helping Rob Walden with some issue that happened after round one and got him ready to go for the consolation race. What customer service can be found better than that? Nowhere.
Yes. He's the best. Roby is the best. He's there. He fixes whatever tires up. If you can get it to him and have 20 minutes, he can fix it for you.
Certainly does. Fantastic job. Hey, Mr. Chick Magnet, always in the comments stirring up something. He's asking, for the 2024 season, does the full face goatee make the Silver Streak go faster?
Yes, it is. I'm going to try to win them all this year.
All right. Hey, speaking of going faster, you picked up this win at Brainerd Motorsports Park for the season opener, and you weren't the fastest and quickest car. You did it the hard way, if you will.
I did. I ended up qualifying number 5, and as it went on, we did get faster. But the ones that I was running was faster than me. And the first round, I had the red wagon. Then it come down to Gabe, but Gabe had broke, and so I got a bye. And then it come around to Todd, and I think when Todd left, he just sat there. His car never moved. He just spun the tires. And then it come down me and Leslie stumbled a little bit. And, I mean, it was close at the other end. I didn't know who won.
Yeah, you can see from his onboard footage that he posted later to social media that it was a tremendously tight race. And, hey, that's why we love Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, the action that it produces. With that being stated, why are you in Sega, and what is your motorsports background? Most of the time I have someone like Leslie or I have a Ron Allison, and they've got a diverse motorsports background before ever getting into Sega. So what about yourself? Where does motorsports start for you, and how did you get to Sega, and why Sega?
Normally, the only thing I ever done was street race, and I'd go to the drag strip and just play, but I never did really race till 2000, and I guess it was 2014. I went to watch the Southeast Gashers run at Greer Dragway, and I said I got to have me one. So I think it was from January to March, I built that 63 Nova and brung it out to run, but I didn't build it right. I tried to use cheap parts and use this, but I learned a good lesson. You better do it right the first time.
For sure, because the people that are competing in Sega, they're serious competitors. It is not just a car show. It is not just go out there and have fun, though fun is had. It is serious competition, especially with someone like Leslie here lowering the boom on the ET. And that's not just an A gas thing, B gas, C gas. They keep getting faster and quicker as well. It's serious competition out there.
It has. It has got every year. It's got competition's got to where you can't just go out there and play. Whenever you get out there, you got to be ready, and you got to keep working on the car to keep it up front. If that's where you want to stay. I won. I think it was like 2019, something like that. I won like 5 races in a row. You hardly don't do that anymore. Now, if you win one, I won 1 last year, and if you win 3 a year, you've done.
Right. It is very serious out there competition wise in Sega, and that is certainly why we love it. We get a car show, we get great competition, great side by side drag racing, the wheel stands, all of it. And folks, if you want to see that action, you can see all of the A-Gas eliminations on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, and not long from now, you'll be able to see everything on PowerTube TV as well. A full race recap there from Brainerd Motorsports Park in the season opener. But if you want to see A-Gas, you can see that right now on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. We're going to look at Kenneth's round 1 and then be back with him and break it down all the way to the final and his win right now on Between the Slicks. All right, Kenneth, rolling into race day. No testing on Friday night. That was a complete wash. There might have been some boat racing in the area, but it was certainly a downpour in the Ringgold, Georgia, Chattanooga, Tennessee area. But going into Friday, the track, how did it feel? What did you think you all were capable of? I know, especially for other competitors, certainly it had a lot of bite.
It did. It really done good for me because I used to, I just left wide open. And well, now I finally got it down to where I leave at a certain RPM. And since I redone the chassis this winter, the chassis seems to be working real good. And I can leave it at that RPM and it'll normally go straight down the track every time. Where before, you didn't really know where it was going to go. But it started coming around. I think the first couple of qualifying fights, I think I finally qualified the second round qualifying in 5th. And then it got just a little better, but not a whole lot. And that's what we had to work with all day.
Well, you worked with it, and you worked it all the way to a win. I'm curious, though, with Leslie chiming in again. He asks about a booster seat to see over the steering wheel in Silver Street. So is that your competitive edge?
Yes.
Hey, I understand. I'm a short guy, so I'd have to have booster seats as well. Oh, Leslie, thank you, man, for chiming in, owner of the Southeast Gas Association. Now, runner-up at Brainerd Motorsports Park, former champion in the series. By the way, Kenneth, how many wins do you have in the series, and where are you on the championship tally as well? Have you earned a championship in Sega?
2019.
Okay.
I won, and I think I've got 19 trophies. Is one of them.
That is certainly a good grouping. 19 trophies and a championship, and was that in A-Gas?
That was
A-Gas. All right.
I just stayed in A-Gas the whole time I've been racing.
So final round was two A-Gas former champions, and what a great matchup throughout racing wise. There were competition singles for sure, but no give me rounds for anybody out there on the track at Brainerd Motorsports Park for the Sega opener. A tremendous racing. All right, we're going to take a look at your second round. Second round, you had a competition single. Gabriel Burrow broke, ladder bar snapped, and he held on to it. What a wild ride he had. And you all can see that action on the video, but we're going to take a look at your competition single here right now. We need to concentrate. All right, competition single, by run, some will say. How do you look at that? Are you one of those drivers like, okay, here's my shot. I can really see what my car is going to do, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to send it? Or do you have this sense of anxious building and like, wow, what can go wrong? I can go out here and lose this whole thing and knock myself out of the race. And, it was on the run against the competitor known as BYE. So where are you on that spectrum?
Well, normally I go out there and try to get lane choice. If you run the bigger number, you get lane choice. But I know where we was at, and so I just told my crew chief, I said, won't we just go out there and ease down and come back around? Well, we need to try for lane choice. So that's what we did. We went ahead and tried for lane choice. And I think Todd got me by just a little bit, and he got lane choice. We hadn't run the left lane except in qualifying, which it seemed to be good in qualifying. And so we ended up in the left lane.
Well, there you go. That makes a lot of sense. Hadn't been in the left lane since qualifying, tested out, and that's something I would imagine as we look into this next round coming up and the final round with on-track action. The way it went, there was an incident with Youngblood on the track, though they were able to go on and win, and then there was also an oil down issue. The race, in essence, had an intermission, though it wasn't planned, that really got us later into the evening beyond what I think anybody expected. And we all know that when the sun goes away, tracks change. So when we were looking into the semifinal, you look at the track, what were you and your team thinking about track-wise there at Brainerd Motorsports Park?
It really wasn't an issue for us because we was off about a tenth. So if I left at a certain RPM, it normally would go. So we wasn't even worried about the track going away for us. But the other ones that had the bigger power, it was bad for them.
Well, it played into your hands and certainly able to pick up a semifinal round win. We'll take a look at that now. Moving to the final round over Slingshot there in the other lane. And as you said, the track, it worked out into your favor. And, it fascinates me. You got Leslie Horn, love Leslie. and he's trash talking, and yet he lost. He says he don't or about anything. Sometimes he even forgets to show up to the start line and can't even remember to cross the scale. I mean, this man lost, and he's here in the comment section stirring stuff up. Come on, Leslie.
That's Leslie. That's
Well, you pick up the semifinal round win going into the final against Leslie Horn and the Chick Magnet. Let's take a look at that real quick, and we'll continue here on the Between the Slicks. Boom, there it is. First winner in A-Gas in 2024 in Southeast Gassers Association competition. Kenneth Phillips over Leslie Horn. And, hey, that was a race. Like you said, you didn't know that you won it. Leslie didn't know that he lost it. You can see in his in-car footage on his social media, it was an extremely tight race. What was the margin of victory? Do you remember the number?
8 thousandths of a second, something like that.
Man, insane. All of that high revving, gear jamming, wheel popping and wheeling down the track, and it comes down to be that close. Tremendous drag race for sure.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised. He was right there. I could see him, and I know he could see me, and I didn't have a clue till I seen the light come on.
So it is no secret that compared to some of the other competitors out there, you knew you were behind as far as ET and speed for the event. Do you plan on, remedying that and begin where you're qualifying number one and making it quicker and faster? Is that something that where it is right now in Sega competition that you've even yourself, former champion, 19 wins, that you've got to pick up the pace also?
Yes, and I have lost that 10th, and I'm thinking it's in my rear end. I got it out now, and it's at the feller's shop having it worked on. But I think that's where it went, because the 10th is what we had fell off from the last time we had run it. So we was right there close. We just could not find what we needed.
And it certainly is a game of finding wherever you can find it. I'm curious, how challenging does it become with these period correct gassers to, find that something? Because, you can't do anything modern, even though you may look at it and go, man, if we could do that, we could pick, but you can't do that because you got to stay within the boundaries of Southeast Gassers Association. So where do you tend to find yourself eyeballing that maybe we can find something here, or what has worked in the past?
You got to find it. Normally the motor's there. It's going to be in the chassis. It's going to be in the clutch. It's going to be somewhere there is where you're going to find more power at.
Wow. Very narrow, limited area of where you're going to find. I mean, certainly aerodynamics are not coming into play anytime soon. No point in worrying about that. So with the Southeast Gassers Association competition, we've had a tremendous change over the offseason. Quayne Stott's no longer an owner. He is now a racer, just a fellow racer out there in A-Gas competition. And, your thoughts on that? Quayne out there competing, and he doesn't have to worry about going past scales anymore. He can go out there and just win trophies and pick them up and be Quayne Stott of old, if you will.
Yeah. I think he's going to enjoy it more than what he did, probably.
I imagine so. And, Mr. Trash Talker, Leslie Horn as owner, your thoughts on that? He's actually given a compliment here. Kenneth is always tough. He has the fastest small block gasser. So
it has really, really done me good since I've had that motor. I guess I've had it probably 3, maybe 4 years, and it runs right up there with the big blocks.
It does. And what's the story on the Corvette as far as its history? Do you know in particular? I know you said you got it from Quain, but was it originally something that was a gasser back in the day, or was it found later on and converted into?
It had always, I got a video on it, but I lost the video, but it had started out as somebody had turned it into a race car early, and it was just like a drag car. It had the big slicks and all on it at the time. He run bigger than what we did. And it went from hand to hand. I think the last person that had it before Dave got it, which is the one that traded it into Quain, somebody was going to make a pro mod out of it. They had a blower motor in it and a straight axle and all that under it. So they had narrowed the chassis way in. So when I set my motor in, my chassis, my starter sets in the chassis. So that was always a problem for us because the motor set 4 inches too high, and we couldn't lower it because of the chassis. So when I redone the chassis this winter, that kind of opened everything up to where we can kind of get to everything now, and we don't have no whole lot of problems.
All right. All right. What are some other updates that you might be looking at? You mentioned looking at the rear end, but with your platform and the evolution of it to maintain pace and maintain competitiveness, what do you think's got to happen?
What we'll do, we'll get the rear end back. If there's anything wrong with it, we'll go from it. We'll go to the clutch, reset the clutch, and we'll go test before the race. And we're going to be racing where I'll be testing. So that'll kind of tell me what I need to do.
Well, that certainly is good. It works out to be able to go test. I imagine, let's see, Campobello is what, 45 minutes from Shelby?
Right. 5, yes.
Yep. Right. Okay. Good. So, because I know for me in Pendleton, South Carolina, where I reside, Shelby and Shadyside's about hour or 45, 2 hours, just about. So, looking forward to be up there and you all up there. I'm certainly considering making the April 12th and 13th matchup, the Shelby Nationals, presented by Robbins Repairables, and that race, Shadyside. I mean, wow, Shadyside and Southeast Gassers Association, what a combination. Most time, 2 times a year, usually is the last race of the year as well, and championships are decided there. Racing at that track. Also, not just racing there, but racing there with a group of people who are putting investment into the track and making it a new and better place looking into 2024. Your thoughts on Shadyside?
Oh, I love Shadyside. They have really stepped up, got new bleachers in. They've got the place looking good. I believe we'll have a really good turnout this time and be some good racing.
Oh, man, speaking of turnout, wow, the last time you all were there, I was not able to attend last time there at Shadyside for the last race of 2023, but woo, look, folks, if you're a fan and you want to go to Shadyside, you need to get there early because it was packed and racing started and cars were still rolling in. And what a tremendous crowd that was last time. So we've got Ringgold, Georgia, Brainerd Motorsports Park out of the way. We're looking forward to Shelby, North Carolina there at Shadyside at Dragway. Kenneth, your schedule, is every one of these races on the docket?
Yes. I don't think I've ever missed but one. I missed one. I had a blown motor one time, and I missed one race since I've been racing.
All right. Well, Kenneth is going to be out there each and every race. Looking forward to continuing, well, now your points lead and an opportunity to go into Shelby and extend it. What race out of all of these stands out to you as a competitor? Maybe because of the drive, maybe because of the track itself, maybe because of returning. What on the schedule remaining stands out?
Heck, they all good to me. I don't really have a special one that I just go and just run whatever's there, the track.
Well, there's certainly some great ones to be a part of. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but the Gulfport, Mississippi race continues to be one that is certainly intriguing. And that in conjunction with the cruising the Gulf, just Sega tied in, and the drag racing, that just makes so much sense for sure. Steven Smith, he chimes in, says, "Hey man, thanks for wearing the official merch. You've always been a big supporter of the Southeast Gassers gear. Thank you." So Steven sending his thanks along.
Yeah, I like all the stuff they do. I like everything that they've got. I wear all their shirts.
Hey, Steven's got great stuff. I love the man does a spectacular job on the posters. And they just keep getting better. Like every time I'm like, oh, he can't top that, and the next one comes, I'm like, dang, how did he do that? So yeah, the posters are always spectacular for sure. Leslie wants to remind you that you only have a 5-point lead, and he's going to get that Shady Side.
As long as I stay 5 points ahead of Leslie all year, I'll be happy.
I hear you. Just stay ahead of Leslie. Hey, staying ahead of Leslie is probably going to be a good place to be, but certainly there is stiff competition out there in AGAS, such as Gabriel. When they get that car fixed back up and bring it back to the track, he is always a heavy hitter, defending 2023 champion of the AGAS category. Who are some of the other competitors out there that you have your eye on when you go into the stage in lanes? Who are those tough guys out there in AGAS?
We got Ben Christopher and Todd Blackwell. They ain't none of them. You can't turn your back on none of them in that. They all right there together. We all close.
They really are, for sure. Well, Ken, when people ask you, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do as a hobby? And you're like, oh, I go do this Southeast Gasser Association thing. And they ask, why? Why are you drag racing this old car? What do you tell them? What is your reasoning behind going and drag racing with the Southeast Gassers Association?
Whenever I got in this, it was just like it was meant for me to be there. And I love going, talking to the people, everybody that comes in, watch, just, and to have a car that'll run, that was always a thing to me. When you'd see these boys running in the fives and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'd like to do that, but that probably won't ever happen. And then it ends up happening. It's just stuff like that keeps me going in the Gassers.
I got you. One more win, and you keep doing it. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Kenneth, look forward to seeing you down the road. Congratulations once again on the win there at Brainerd Motorsports Park for the season opener of 2024 in Sega competition. Before I let you go, anybody you want to say thank you to that helps you out, gets you to the track, and turns a wrench or two?
Well, I want to say thank you to Kenny Phillips is the one that's crew chief on me. Amber, she's the one that backs me up. And Gene Fulton for the motor. And Roby for the transmissions. And Bob, he kind of keeps everybody straight. And so I just want to thank all of them.
All right. Well, man, again, congratulations on the win. Thank you for your time here on Between the Slicks. And we look forward to you getting another one there at Shady Side.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, that was Kenneth Phillips, winner of the A-Gas class there at the season opener for the Southeast Gassers Association at Brainerd Motorsports Park. Rumble and Ringgold, the Southern Nationals, as they had it dubbed. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back right here on Between the Slicks and talk some more drag racing, wherever you might want to take the conversation.
The drag racing life and the RV life seem to go hand in hand like nitromethane and superchargers. And when you are traveling through the Lone Star State and you're needing work done on your RV, well, DFW RV Center is your star to contact.
Well, speaking of the Lone Star State, that is where I will be heading next for the Funny Car Chaos Classic, April 4th through the 6th. And it is going to be an event that also has Nitro Chaos along for the party, and it is going to be one drag racing party and show for the ages. Chris Graves continues to figure out a way to make this event bigger and better than even the first one. The first one was an event that was spectacular, and you have it grow. The next year, you've got the epic photo of 60 plus floppers out there on the Texas Motorplex drag strip, and it continues to evolve and grow. And now Nitro Chaos will be a part of it. They're at the historic Texas Motorplex for the Funny Car Chaos Classic. Right now, it is roughly 75 professional race vehicles will be at the Texas Motorplex for the Funny Car Chaos Classic. Yes, you can still get your tickets. Yes, you still need to make plans to come and attend this spectacular event where you're going to see over 40 funny cars and then plenty of front engine dragsters, fuel alters, and funny cars competing in Nitro Chaos as well. It is going to be a show of shows in the drag racing world. But if you're not able to be there, as we know many are not going to be able to be there, it is going to be streamed live. The Funny Car Chaos Classic, Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos will be streamed live April 4th through the 6th on the Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel. And that is being brought to you by those fine sponsors down there below on that flyer. You can see every day of action on the Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel for free. Now, last year, you had Flow streaming the Funny Car Chaos events, and also the year before that, they were streamed, possibly even the year before that. And this is the first time Funny Car Chaos will actually offer streaming for free on their own platform. There was streaming in the past with bangshift.com, and it was a pay-per-view type of situation, but this is going to be for free on the Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe and be ready for the action from the Classic. But this transition occurs because Flow, they have seemed to really change their platform, especially on the drag racing side. Basically, the drag racing side for them has become a situation where for them and their bottom line, and to make room for other events like the Pro Shootout, you have seen other drag racing properties go by the wayside. And though you hear that they pay promoters, well, I understand with the Midwest Drag Racing platform that is a completely different deal, and that is something where the Midwest Drag Racing Series is holding on to the advertising revenue while putting their product onto Flow. And even Funny Car Chaos, Flow was not involved in the way that Flow employees were on the ground. That wasn't the case. This was a product produced by Funny Car Chaos that was streamed to Flow, that Flow was paying to have the rights to. Well, they don't want to pay for those rights anymore, but you're going to get just as great quality as last year on the Funny Car Chaos stream, because people who have been involved with Funny Car Chaos in the past will be partaking in the streaming efforts of this particular event coming up, the season opener for both Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos. So you don't got to worry about quality. Quality will be exceptional, and it should be a great stream with or without Flow involved. And on Flow, I really do wonder what the future of Flow drag racing in particular really holds, because right now, you have this year, if it happens again, and I do expect it to happen again, the Pro Shootout, which was a tremendous drag race. They streamed it. It was a good stream, but certainly not anything revolutionary. And you have them streaming that, and that event is the only time you'll see Nitro burned on Flow Drag Racing for the rest of the 2024 season, unless they announce something different. Then they are very much so door slammer centric, whether it's the Duck Promotions or the races that are happening down at Bradenton. there in Florida. So you've got PDRA, you got Midwest Drag Racing Series, and you've got the bigger races, especially in the door car world. So their portfolio is really narrowed in the drag racing scene. And I'm certainly curious of where Flow Drag Racing is going to go with the properties that they're carrying and keeping in mind the ones that they have also decided not to carry. And it is, to me, an interesting development when you have people come on board at Flow and they express that, we're going to help grow drag racing and move drag racing forward. And right now it seems like it's to grow drag racing in particular areas and not the totality of drag racing. Granted, that is one of the challenges of drag racing. When you say drag racing is growing, it can be that all of drag racing is growing for sure. And I think we do see that in the moment. But when you take it down to the particulars and look at it individually, you're going to see growth at different paces. Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos is growing differently than other segments of drag racing. Southeast Gashers Association drag racing is growing different than other areas of drag racing. And you have things such as, well, I know many would not consider it drag racing, though it is drag racing because drag racing is so diverse. You've got something like Texas 2K and rolling drag racing. That is becoming much more popular and growing in popularity, especially with a younger demographic. And you have these areas growing, whereas other areas aren't growing quite as much. Overall, drag racing is growing and it is moving forward, but it is interesting to see which ones are growing at a much more accelerated pace. And it is interesting how all of this comes together because drag racing is so diverse. You have scenes that never come together. And then, oddly enough, they come together in these weird times and platforms. I think of Nelson Hoyas down there at No Problem Raceway. You have a NHRA divisional with a regional. So that means you've got on the grounds, Super Stock, Super Comp, Super Gas, Comp Eliminator, those classes, along with Top Alcohol Funny Car and Top Alcohol Dragster. And then Nelson, to add to the show, to add to the draw on the event card, brings in the imports. And they put on a tremendous show. Those guys with rotary engines and small 4-cylinders with turbos bigger than the engine, and they're popping and banging and smoking. It is tremendous drag racing, but it's a scene that you don't always see at a NHRA event. But he put them together, and it worked great. So I definitely think we're going to move forward as we work together and we help promote one another. I think the portfolio should be diverse. And I definitely think the portfolio for a Flow drag racing, if you're going to represent drag racing, it's got to be rather diverse. And I think it's got to be more diverse than what it is right now, honestly. When you look at really a very door slammer centric portfolio that is mainly PDRA, the big door slammer races, Midwest Drag Racing Series, which is predominantly a door slammer series, though they do have funny car involved. You're looking at only 8-car fields for most of the events, especially the first one coming up at Pine Valley Raceway. And great drag racing happens there for sure, but it's definitely a door car centric platform. And you have, well, only one event that has nitro on the platform. So I think drag racing, as diverse as it is, the portfolio has got to be diverse when you are covering it and you're showcasing it. And that's why, like, even right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform, over the history of the channel, it is not just a drag racing channel, but drag racing is certainly heavily emphasized. And you can go through the contents of this channel and you will see door slammers from Mountain Motor Pro stock to pro modifieds to factory stock to funny car drag racing, whether it's Funny Car Chaos and big events and small events, to match racing. at some little drag strip in Virginia to Southeast Gassers Association Nostalgia Drag Racing to World Fuel Altered Nationals and to NHRA drag racing. Drag racing is diverse, and to say that you are covering drag racing, you have got to, well, be diverse along with that. So with that being said, let's all work together to continue to promote drag racing, because I think as we work together, we'll all grow. The Southeast Gassers Association, they have done events where they have gone and be a part of events and exhibition form. I've seen that at the last Southern Nationals, for example, and I've seen it at, I believe it's the Choppers Ball down there at Union Dragway Still in Motion, that has occurred. And I've been down there and seen the Southeast Gassers be a part of that. And, Chris Graves and Funny Car Chaos has been a part of those things. Again, I think when we celebrate the diversity and the differences and yet do it together, we can all help one another and move the sport of drag racing forward for sure. So, drag driver Pete, Michael Narks, I think he's doing a great job in that sense. You've got Drag and Drive. That's a completely different audience. But if you're a person that loves drag racing, and when I say loves drag racing, maybe you're an NHRA fan. You love nitromethane, you love Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and you dabble in a little bit of Pro Mod. If you will take the time to go to a Drag and Drive event, you get hooked. I regret, as busy as I have become and as good as that is, that last year I didn't catch any Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, and I didn't catch any Drag and Drive event, even though there are some now that are 8th Mile in the Carolinas. That was on my radar to cover, and it just didn't work out. The Drag and Drive scene is such a spectacular scene because it's doing something that really today in professional drag racing and drag racing in general, it has got away from. Drag racing is not so much hot rodding anymore as it used to be. Hot rodding and drag racing used to be almost interchangeable terms. When you look at the early sport of drag racing and the early development of hot rodding, well, that's not the case anymore. Look, a guy with a Pro Mod, though we might say in an interview, "Oh, how's your hot rod running?" That's not a hot rod. That is a purpose-built race car. A Top Fuel dragster is not a hot rod, though we might use that terminology in an interview. Or John Forrest pops out of the hot hatch and, "Oh, my hot rod, it sure is running good." Nonetheless, it is a purpose-built funny car. But you look at the drag and drive scene, those are hot rods that are going drag racing, or drag cars that are being hot rodded because they've got to do what? They got to be able to go down the street just as good as they go down the strip. So that scene, and also the back of the track no prep scenes, that's hot rodding. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. Went to Darlington several years ago for a back of the track event, the first event they ever had that was back at the track, and Spooled Media was heavily involved. Corey Stamps, I believe I'm getting that right. He was a promoter of it. It was a tremendous drag race. So many cars turned out, a lot of great drag racing. And it was just this strange but good and wonderful, gathering of all these different types of vehicles, from diesel trucks to Mazdas and other nameplates coming together, all hot rodded to go down the drag strip. Small tire and big tire. So that was cool scene. Again, the scene that we're in drag racing is wildly diverse, and that's a good thing, that people can find their place and enjoy drag racing in so many different ways. But I sit here and I just want to say that, one, don't knock another form of drag racing unless you have experienced it. And if you're going to cover drag racing, either say, "Hey, I'm covering this," and you cover it extremely well. Or if you're going to say that you are covering drag racing, you've got to make an attempt to cover it and it be extremely diverse. So platforms like Flow Drag Racing, platforms like, even PowerTube TV, I think YouTube channels that are dedicated to drag racing, you've got to broaden the spectrum to really say that, or narrow it and say, Flow Door Slammer Drag Racing, or say that your YouTube channel is, Monday Morning Door Slammer or something of that nature. Okay. So if you're going to cover drag racing, it's diverse, and be prepared to cover it in all of its diversity and experience it. And Michael, with Drag Drive and Repeat, he was able to experience his first Southeast Gassers Association race. And I know he loved it. Make sure, stop by Drag Drive Repeat, subscribe to his YouTube channel. He'll be talking about it, I know for sure, very soon, if he has not already. And be out there on the look for what will be coming out on PowerTube TV. But if you do want to see Southeast Gassers Association action right now, when I go off the air here in just a few moments, you can swing by to the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel and you can see this video. Gassers are back. Yeah, I had someone on Reddit say, Gassers aren't back. They've never left. And I was like, yes, I realized that. It's a figure of speech. And for the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, since I wasn't able to make any races last year concerning Sega, they are back on the channel, and it's certainly good to have them back on the channel. But you can see all of A-Gas eliminations on the Monday Morning Racer platform. Michael, Drag Drive Repeat, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Coffee and snacks, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. You keep up the good work. Stephen Smith, you keep up the good work with the gear and social media and everything. Southeast Gassers Association, the Sega 55 Chevy Chick Magnet Racing. That is Leslie Horn. He's mentioning that Shadyside has the best food of any drag strip they go to. Keep up the good work, owner of the Southeast Gassers Association. Folks, remember, April 12th, 13th, the Shelby Nationals presented by Robbins Repairables. They are going to have Sega in the house. Here's a quick look at the rest of the schedule. Make sure you catch all that you can of the Southeast Gassers Association action. And once again, another reminder, next weekend, not this one, but the next weekend, the season opener for both Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos drag racing is at full song across the board. NHRA, Chaos, Sega, IHRA, great things are happening there as well. WDRA, it's all at full song. Stevie Fast Jackson sets a radial record, I believe a 3:48 in the 8th mile there at Steele, Alabama International Dragway. So many great things are happening in the drag racing world, and you can keep up on a lot of the action right here on Monday Morning Racer. We'll continue to cover Southeast Gassers Association, continue to cover NHRA alcohol and beyond when we have opportunity. Thank you for watching. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer. This has been the 160th episode of Between the Slicks with the A-Gas class winner of Southeast Gassers Association competition from Brainerd Motorsports Park. For their season opener, it was Kenneth Phillips. Thank you for your time, Kenneth. We're going to hit the video and get out of here. God bless and keep the pedal to the metal. Each and every one of you, have a good weekend.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.